We are splitting timelines right now. The Earth is in the process of splitting as well. The guides have brought through a lot of messages about this and what it looks like, what it entails. We are getting ready to enter a really big next stage of ascension, and this next wave is about to awaken and go through their awakening process. So, I want to dive in and talk all about this. This is going to be a bit of a different video, and I will explain that as we get into it. So, let's go ahead and jump in.
Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light?
Okay, before we dive in, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to everyone who has been donating to my channel. I really appreciate you. Thank you. I see you, and your support means everything. And thank you to everyone who has been here with me for the past year as I've been building this channel. It just means so much to me, and it feels so good to be able to bring my gifts forward and have them be received and to meet so many of you and to hear about your gifts and what you're stepping into as well. So thank you all so much for being here. Okay. So we're going to do things a little different today. I the guides instructed me to film myself channeling. So I have done that. I'm very visual, so a lot of times I have to pause and receive the visual, and they tend to come in chunks. So I'm going to intersperse this video. It's going to be me explaining things like this, and then I'm going to show a section of the channeling, and then we're going to talk about that a little bit. So it's going to be cut in between this channeling. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer video because the guides brought through a lot of information. I may divide it into two videos. We'll see what happens. But the main thing we really want to talk about is this splitting that is happening. And as we enter into this next stage of ascension, what that looks like. So I want to explain a little bit of that first, and then I'm going to start introducing the channeling that I've recorded. So, first and foremost, the guides have said that we have chosen a two dominant timelines that need to happen, and they kind of coincide with each other. So, all these timeline choices were kind of intertangled together, and we have made a choice up into these higher timelines. And we overcame and decided not to choose these lower timelines where we would have to go through this next ascension phase via more control and manipulation through destruction. So it would be a destruction of our world as we know it because it's becoming more controlled and manipulated, brainwashed through the darker beings, the elites. And we would have to weed our way through that. That was kind of the lower timeline. Now we have chosen one where this destruction is going to happen. It was happening either way. Things are going to be untangled, teared down, torn down. But it's going to be through stepping into more of our power, seeing more of the light, and tearing down these structures that have been built by the dark and exposing more of that consciousness so that it can be brought into the light as opposed to that consciousness, the darker consciousness trying to take over and have control of us. I hope that makes sense. So the guides really want to talk about, since we have made this choice now, what these two timelines are, how they are going with each version of the Earth that's splitting out, what this process looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and play you a clip from the channeling, and then we're going to chat about it. They're showing me these dark clouds, and they're coming up over what feels like a sunrise. So there's this pinkish sky, and then I'm seeing these dark clouds. And then the vision switches, and they're showing me this bright white sun shining through these kind of gray clouds. And what it feels like is there's these two reality choices, perhaps these timelines that are intertwined with each other right now. This is the feeling that I'm getting. And people's minds are starting to notice either more of the light that's shining through or more of the dark. And this is going to help people make a choice as to which reality they want to experience. This is happening right now, and it feels like as we step into January, the reality that you choose is going to become more and more prominent. So if you're focusing on the light that is coming through and seeing more of that, they're saying we want you to ask for evidence, evidence of this light coming through. Start to see one thing, then you start to see more things. But right now, it feels like both of us, or all of us, are kind of caught between these two worlds where we want to go on social media. We want to focus on the news, the things that are happening where it's like, where is this coming from? The dark is doing this. They're saying, we already know that the dark is doing this. We don't have to understand why. It's saying we already know. Uh, they're kind of bringing up this drone situation where they're saying, we know where this is already coming from and what it's trying to do. It's part of the dark cloud situation. Um, but I feel a lot of us, my heart, it's like being drawn towards this light. It's pulling me up. So this feels like the split that's wanting to happen. So it's like these two realities. Um, they're saying these dark clouds, it feels like a dark night of the soul that people are going to have to go through. Um, if a light worker should choose this, it's almost like they may find themselves caught up and it won't feel correct. Like, why am I going through another dark night of the soul? Why am I getting caught up in other people's stuff? Because that's technically what a dark night of the soul is. You're realizing all of this other stuff that's not you that you've been caught up in. But if you were supposed to choose this higher timeline and you didn't, you could still choose the higher one. You would just have to recognize how you got yourself caught up in this and start choosing the light again. I want to see the light that's coming through. It's all about choice, it feels like. When I choose to see the light and the evidence that it is coming in, the more of it I'm going to see. Uh, that's what they're saying as well about the sun being brighter, these two suns. It's like evidence of being able to see more of the light. We're choosing this higher timeline and this higher space. It's evidence, evidence that you are stepping into this new Earth timeline. They're making me feel like I'm feeling these spheres, the split. It's already happening. So because this is already happening, it's like, which one do you want to choose? But it's almost as if there are two balls, they're still kind of intertwined like this, and they're going to start to fully come apart in 2025. And they're making me feel like what's going to happen is they'll still be kind of close. Um, the light, it's almost as if I'm feeling like the sun and the light wrapping around New Earth and pulling it up. And it's like there are those of us that will be on this planet, the true Earth, the lighter Earth. We will be able to feel that which Earth is releasing and see it and sense it. There are those rabbit holes that will still kind of be there, but we won't give into them. We'll just be able to witness what is going on instead of participating in it. Um, it feels like this lower Earth, somehow they're making me feel like it gets held. It's like I'm feeling this Earth rise up and then this one with the dark clouds around it, it's dropping back down. I'm just following where it's going. It's almost like it's going down this tube. Oh, wow. So it's almost as if this other Earth has to drop back down in this tube. I see it drop below this higher Earth and it's sitting there. And it's almost like it has to go through an entirely other process of unwinding. But it's not in the same way. It's like it's almost like a ball of yarn that's all knotted up or a hairball. It's pulling all the pieces off together so it's like you can lay them straight and really see what's going on. So there's this process of untangling. It's not the same that we went through where we were removing layers, there is more of an untangling that then becomes an opening up, almost like a flower. When its petals haven't opened, it's opening one at a time to reveal, oh, okay, this is what I truly am. And now I'm seeing the light and I choose to rise up to it. So basically what the guides are saying is there's two dominant timelines and they're going with each version of the earth. So the earth is splitting and it's taking a timeline with it. So the higher earth or new earth will take this higher timeline and then the old earth will go with this lower timeline and they're going to work together to work things out and create this next phase of ascension. So if I'm drawing it, here is new earth, okay, up here. And then down here, we have this old earth. And it's kind of like it's pulling out, like it's this version of earth is releasing this one, okay? So as it separates, it's almost like, if I could draw it, this is the true earth or new earth. And this layer has been around it this whole time. And now what is happening is this layer is starting to come off as new earth pushes itself up and out of this layer. Do you see how that phase, it's just releasing it. So then we get to this drawing that I had already made. I need like 5 marker boards where they finally separate. It pulls this old version of itself off and it comes into this true version of itself. And then the old version of itself is down here. And these are also considered timelines that we're experiencing. So this is the higher one and the lower one. And what they're saying is that this lower one is kind of like this ball of yarn that's all tangled up. And the people who choose this lower timeline are going to have to unravel all of this. That's their job. This to me feels like the 5th wave. That's what they're working on, probably 5th and 6th, but the next wave that's going to awaken is the 5th. And they're going to awaken through untangling all of this nastiness that's in our systems, our world, even their own lives, while the people who choose this higher timeline are going to be up here planting and creating and activating this new earth so that it can be so beautiful and wonderful when people continue to rise up to it. So these are the 2 versions, and that's what they're talking about right now. Now we're going to get ready to add something to this drawing, but I'm going to go back to the channeling. So it feels as though us light workers that have been moving through this ascension process and we are traveling to new earth, the next process of this awakening and ascension process is we were the layer removers. We removed the layers. And now this next wave, these waves of these 5th and 6th wavers, they're doing an untangling. It feels like almost as if it's this 3rd dimensional matrix itself is going to start becoming unwound. I'm hearing they are the untanglers as they start untangling all the nooks and crannies that held the system of our old world together that we had to operate in. So they're leading me back up to this lighter part and this lighter earth. I feel like I'm going back up the tube. And once they untangle, it's almost like they can come back up to the tube. So I'm seeing this drop down of earth, the old earth. Then the tube comes up sideways here, almost like where the sun may come in, where their sun is. It's almost like they reach up to this portion of light, and then the tube goes up further. And as this new earth continues to rise. So there's this stopping point of when they go through this untangling that needs to happen, It feels like this happens with a lot of the systems, that these people have agreed to awaken through the untangling of the systems of the world. It's bringing a lot of emotion in for me as I feel this, that they have agreed to awaken in a very different way than what a lot of you watching currently may have gone through. It's more of you saw the systems for what they are. And as you released the layers of yourself, this became more apparent. And you could see the show, the illusion, and what it was, and how people are entangled in it, the web. Um, and now these other people are going to have to remove themselves out of this web. Once they do and begin to untangle this and untangle more, they will go up to this other layer, this higher layer where there is more light, and they're going to receive more truth of who they are. It is a receiving here. They have to go through this process. It's the midway point until they can get to New Earth. Okay, so let's talk about this tube too that they're talking to me about. So this tube I would also call a bridge. Basically, what they're saying is there is this tube, it kind of forms a V, and I'm going to draw it like this, that leads from the new Earth or true Earth down to old Earth. And basically, when Earth sheds this layer, the layer falls down through this tube and becomes down here. So what this tube now serves as is a bridge to, so it's kind of like we get to head up to this bridge to head to New Earth. So it's just like a consciousness bridge. Now, what they're saying is this tube, excuse me, has this middle point. I would almost call it like uh it's like this. It looks very orange and pink and red. You'll probably hear that in the channeling. But there's this middle point that a lot of people will go to. So the third and the fourth wave have just been spending a lot of time here. And what this does is it helps you integrate your lower chakras. It helps you step more into your power, your creativity, your safety, all that stuff. So we've been going through that here. You're going to hear more about this. So this is the tube, it's the bridge that they're talking about. So when people start to awaken this fifth wave, they will head up partway to this bridge to receive what's here. Now, there is also a connection between, it's kind of like a crown chakra connection here, where New Earth can send down these waves to receive higher information down here. So people can still receive in their upper chakras. That's how this goes. They can pull in the energy of New Earth, but to head up to it in consciousness, it's like you have to go through this lower chakra system up. So the bridge here, this tube, is what they're talking about. It connects the consciousness is here, but people have to choose it. They kind of can't recognize this bridge until they receive this part from New Earth. This will make sense. The other thing they're talking about here is how the fifth wave and this untangling. So what the fourth and through first waves, if you've listened to my other videos, I talk about how there's 6 waves of ascension. This is different than the Dolores Cannon waves. Those are the waves of volunteers. This is the waves that will ascend to New Earth. So I've been told there's 6. Now, it's basically how people awaken and ascend up. So the fourth through the third wave went through a different process. They awakened by recognizing all the tangles that were around them and pulled themselves out of it. That's what we've done. This fifth wave, when they awaken, they will awaken in the midst of this tangling, and they will have to not only untangle themselves from it, but they are now untangling the tangling, which is the system. It's like the matrix. So they have a very crucial role in this, where they're going to start breaking down the third dimensional matrix. Like it's already started, but they're untangling all of these systems that gets everybody caught in this web. So that's their job. It's a big job. As souls as light workers, we've all had different roles in this. Like the first and the second wave had to establish this new earth consciousness. They had to be the wild weirdos who were like, nobody out here is believing in this stuff, but I'm here. And then the third wave and the fourth wave were creating this bridge basically. And they were hanging out in this part too to help people integrate. And um, the fourth is going to be playing a big role in this midpoint as we move forward. As you know, this bridge gets created even more, but the third and the fourth wave really helped create this bridge, helped people open into this consciousness, into their soul missions, their intuition, all that stuff by stepping into the grandness of their purpose. So, and the first and the second helped with that too. But this has been a really big um, building point here of this consciousness bridge that has been built. But again, this is the next phase. We're ready to really untangle everything and pull that one string that just makes everything be like, oh, it was all tangled around this. They're saying this is the way our particular system of ascension is designed. We have all been playing roles. We are each layers in this process. As we remove layers, we reveal the layers that we are and that we are building. It's these stepping stones. It's almost like floors in a building, but we are building it from the top down instead of the bottom up. And as these layers come in, it's like we are refurbishing or releasing the lower layers and rebuilding them. So, this middle layer is the discovery of self. That is what they are talking about, that these next awakening waves will experience after the untangling. It could be solitude, finding books or programs, recorded material that they may access to help open them up. But I feel like it is in the midst of nature, these journeys that they may take. Um, when they come to this level, they are granted access to receive a taste of the new earth. When they receive this light energy, then they will be granted to move up the tunnel a little further to receive knowings, wisdom, understanding, release, healing, um, higher knowledge from those of us who are inhabiting the newer earth. They will come and receive. This middle layer will serve as a receiving point and an integration point. As they receive the wisdom that we are holding and building out on New Earth, they cannot stay there yet. They will eventually be able to get there, but the energy is almost too much for them to handle at some point. They know that they cannot stay there because they are not ready yet. So they will come back to this middle layer to receive. Um, they may often, once they reach this middle layer of light, become more, how do I say this? Prone to handle going back to this lower earth. They will have to then untangle more, retrieve more of themselves that has been tangled into this lower earth and come back into it. So they will be these travelers, these untanglers and these travelers. There is this mm, gateway that they will be traveling through and to and coming back down. The guides who are with me, the Arcturians who are here, are saying this is the fifth wave and their process. They are helping to awaken this sixth wave. For those that do not know what I'm talking about with these waves, there are six waves that are ascending to New Earth. This is not the same as the wave of volunteers. This is how we um, choose to step into the energy of New Earth. The first and second waves have been in this consciousness for a while, have been up in this New Earth, and they have come back down to this middle layer to help receive the third and the fourth. The third has worked as a bridge to pull up these fourth wavers, and the fourth wavers are joining in this process, and the third has had to wait for them a little bit. as we journey to New Earth together, those of you that are being nudged into more of your mission, you are third wave right now. You are also first and second wave. You are being called to step into that to help pull everything up. Once you do, this fourth wave will be initiated into more of their mission as well, but they are staying here in this little bit of the middle zone that I'm talking about to help pull this fifth wave up. They are holding a light for the third to step up into New Earth and to call the fifth forward. So you are working not as a bridge, but as more of a magnet to help pull people, like a moth to the flame. You are not attracting darkness, you are attracting light. So you are helping to shine light in this middle zone as you pull the fifth wave into recognition of it so that they can see it and feel it and begin to untangle this lower earth. Once the untangling begins, and this third wave has stepped up into New Earth, the first and the second have joined back there as well, then this fourth wave will be called forward into this zone. They want to talk more about this fourth really quick before I draw. This fourth wave is working as a lighthouse, a beacon, a holder of light. Um, the third has created this bridge, but the fourth has come to put the light posts on it so that people can see it. They know that they can walk up to it. This middle zone that we're talking about is the bridge. It has been created this whole time. But now the new earth is moving up, and we have created the bridge to it. It's almost as if the bridge needed to be created first so that the ascension could happen. Okay, so the big thing here in this middle plane is that they're saying now, this is where the third and the fourth waves have kind of been hanging out. They talked to me about how this is where we integrate the lower chakras. So there, the colors there were a lot of orange, red, and yellow. I don't have a yellow marker, but um, it's a lot of these colors. So we're stepping into our creativity, we're stepping into our power, our confidence, and our gifts. We're feeling solid in them and setting a new foundation as how we move forward. So since the third wave has probably integrated a lot of that, they're feeling really called to step into this go energy, to create things, to step into projects, to, start the businesses, all that kind of stuff, this energy that you may be hearing a lot about, and move up this ladder or this bridge into the new earth, and join the first and second waves that are there as well, that are also in their missions. They've been in that mission for a while, it feels like, with the first and second waves. So now the fourth wave is staying here. They're kind of hanging out. They're holding the bridge and holding the line and this light. They're integrating more into their root and their creativity and that process for themselves as this fifth wave awakens. And as they do, they're going to start taking some of the layers off and untangling themselves, and they'll take notice of this middle section, this bridge, and they'll find some fourth wavers that they will reach out to, because the fourth wave is going to start stepping into their mission and coming online. But that can't happen until the third ascends and goes into fully their missions, so they can leave this space open for the fourth wave to step into theirs. I hope that makes sense. So a lot of you that might be sitting here right now like, well, I don't feel inspired, I don't have anything, you might be fourth wave because it's about to come online. It's just like the third has to exit and go into theirs first. And you're going to be working with a lot of the fifth wavers. Your audience are the people who haven't woken up yet. Their awakening point has been hit. It just hasn't expanded fully yet, and it's going to next year. So this is what they're talking about, this middle portion. You could almost even look at this as dimensions. So, you have the third here, this might even be fourth, and then this is fifth. But again, this whole picture is all consciousness. We're just drawing it as a physical thing. So it's just a consciousness bridge. This is the consciousness that people are tangled in. You start to untangle this lower consciousness that's around you, and you start climbing up the bridge in dimensional consciousness, and you come up to this layer. You'll start receiving some things, as you're down here, of like higher things in your crown chakra, and then you want to move up to this level where it's like you can also receive. You see the crown stuff coming in here, so much right here, and it just starts feeding in. And then you get to move up into New Earth. So the fourth wave has their your mission and your role is really coming big online, and then so is the fifth as they awaken. I'm hearing New Earth has always been there. It's always been in this place. They're saying ascension might even be the wrong word. It's not necessarily that we're ascending up, it's that we're removing anything and sending it back down to where it doesn't belong. We're coming into more of our true self and this true earth. This earth has always been here. It's just taking off the capes that has been put over top of it, the layers, the paper mache. It is releasing it out. So they're saying in January and February, this wave that has been holding the light and putting the light posts on the bridge, they will begin to let go of this duty and start to be more called into their purpose and their mission. They're saying this is not an easy job as the fourth wave because you have agreed to put your soul's desire on hold. This is part of your soul's desire to hold this light, but you have agreed to say, I can wait. I know that I am so strong within my soul that I can hold this space. And when it's time, I will be able to quickly move into what is next for me and follow my soul's calling. But I have to be an usher at this time. I have to hold the light. So the fourth wave has taken on a great duty at this time. You are the lamppost. The first and the second wave have prepared the new earth and brought awareness to it that this deepest, truest layer exists. The third wave has come in to create the bridge to it, showing people how to get there, creating information and thought and healing to step into our missions and our true self. The fourth is now holding the light to light up the path to it. The third has built it. Same with the first and second. But it is a really important point now, knowing that the fourth wave has taken on this crucial duty right now. It is you who is holding the strength and holding the process of all of this together. We are all working, but we have all stepped into these points where our role is taking the forefront, and they are saying that this fourth wave is taking the forefront right now. Almost this, I feel it in my heart, this like sacrificial space of this is my duty so that the others who are also me can step into this higher plane. And the guides are coming through saying, thank you. Thank you. This could not have become possible or be done without you. So those of you that are sitting in what feels like this purgatory, or I am just sitting here to hold the light right now, there's nothing else that is coming in for me. We thank you. It is so needed. They're saying in January, this fifth wave will start to begin to see and feel the light, that there is something else more possible here. It will start to percolate. Their awakening point has already been opened, but it is opening through anger and misunderstanding and hate. It is coming more to the forefront of struggle in their lives, and they are opening through worldly events that does not disclude their own personal lives, because things will start happening in their personal lives as well as a result of this. But you will begin to see the fifth wave and how they are coming online. They are making this energy known, and it is becoming more known to them. They're saying that the turmoil, the untangling, will be, the word I want to use, insurmountable. There will be so much change and untangling happening that they will have to seek something else, something higher. They will seek the lampposts that the fourth wave has set into place. This middle space, this middle ground. It is here that the fourth wave will be called into their missions to help pull this fifth wave forward. They will become the healers and the way showers, showing them what is higher, counseling and talking with them, showing new insights that are coming forward as you step more into who you are and your mission. This fourth wave will be travelers between New Earth and this midpoint, helping to guide the newly awakened into this higher Earth, this truer Earth, this new plane of existence for them that their soul is ready to experience. You are the guiders of this middle plane, but yet you exist in the new Earth. So the fourth wave obviously is stepping into a really big role, and they're talking about these lampposts. I want to talk about these real quick. I don't really have a lamp color, so I'm going to use the color pink. But what has been happening as this fourth wave has been awakening, it's almost like they've been leaving breadcrumbs. So they'll be leaving these like lampposts along this bridge, even one up here, that this fifth wave and maybe even six will begin to see and recognize. It will guide them up through this bridge to this space. They're also saying that the fifth wave will get to a point here where they can kind of go visit New Earth, but they won't be able to maintain that energy, so they'll have to go back down. So the fourth wave has left these lampposts. It's almost like, you know, other people in their life have seen how they've awakened, have seen their process. They'll kind of notice it, and it'll ping them to kind of follow in those footsteps. So it could be, you know, people in your life even asking for advice, how you did things, or they're just noticing how your energy has changed. Maybe how you lifted out of a certain career and started a new one for yourself. But these lampposts have been energetically placed by the fourth wave. And now they're holding this light. They're holding this energy here as they grow more into their lower chakras and expand that energy and a healthy masculine. And they're going to come hold this space here. So they haven't quite gone into New Earth. You know how when people go through an awakening, and if a person who is in their first year of awakening is talking to a person who's been awakened for like 20 or 30 years, and you know, the person who's been awakened for a while starts talking about ETs and their Lemurian lifetime, and the person who's just awakened is like, what are you talking about? What is this? You believe in aliens? Like, they're just not there yet. So the fourth wave is, you know, they're into all this stuff, but it's like they're still sitting in this middle plane where it's like they're kind of still relatable, if that makes sense. They're able to be in touch with these people. Not that anyone up here isn't, but it's like sometimes people just need to be held at this space because they're helping and they're waiting for this next wave. And that's kind of what is happening with the fourth wave right now. They're telling me because of this, the new Earth is not round. It is oval. It needs to, it almost feels like the shape of an American football. It feels like it's stretching itself out just a little further so that it can be reached, almost like a rubber band is getting pulled out. And once that happens, once more people graduate to this plane, it can come back more into itself and grow larger, so it will fill out more. But certainly, it still has structure and fulfillment to it. Not flat, it is still a circular type of shape, but I'm feeling it becomes oblong, it stretches itself to receive more of the waves that want to come onto it and experience it. It is stretching its own power, the earth, its own self, so that people can receive it. Okay, so this is really interesting. They're saying that this new Earth, or true Earth, is actually it's oval shaped. It's not a circle. It's oblong, but it's not like flat. So I and it's stretching itself. So if I could redraw this, it's almost like it looks like this instead. It has the timeline through it. It's this shape because it's almost stretching itself so it can scoop up more of this bridge. So it can reach out and grab more energy, more people to come onto it. It almost felt like it's like reaching. Oh, I'm here. Come on, you can step on to me and receive more of me. So it's just stretching itself so it can expand and bring through more of who it really is, attract more people, have more reach. So it just feels like it's this oval shape, this oval sphere, I guess. And then it may eventually grow bigger. It'll expand the other way, so then it turns into more of a circle again. But right now it feels like it's oblong. It'll be oblong. They're saying once these fifth waves discover this middle plane, it will allow the fourth to fully graduate up into this higher portion of Earth, so that then the fifth wavers become the stewards of the middle plane. This light here looks more yellowish and orange, because it's opening people up into their power and their creativity. Whereas as you move up into this higher portion of Earth, this higher Earth, the light looks more white. It seems more pure. The colors here, the greens, the blues, they are brighter, they are more vibrant because of this white light, because the white light holds the true color of everything. So it is allowing everything to shine in its true brilliance. But this middle plane is more yellow, orange, and pink, almost like the colors of a sunset or a sunrise, but it is feeling more sunset. Uh, Even reds, because it is bringing these lower chakras, this masculine and the color of the heart, which feels like the pink. These people will learn to soak into these energies. The people on this lower earth, as they untangle, they are showing me that the higher earth and the lower earth are directly above and below each other. So this is how we receive the opening of these higher chakras. It will start to pour in. This higher earth feeds into the lower one. I'm seeing the blues, the greens, and the purples that are coming in from this higher earth that feed into this untangling, the knowing. So there is a direct connection to the higher earth and the lower one. But there is this midpoint that we go to as we travel up. It's like this V. It's as if once we learn how to open these, then we now need to know how to open the lower ones and incorporate them. The heart is the bridge. It's the bridge between these lower chakras and the higher ones, but we have to build from the top up. This is how the higher realm builds. We receive the feminines first. The feminine receives the intuition, and then we put it into action and learn to incorporate it. And the heart is the bridge between both. This is why it's so important to be heart based. This is what we are learning. It is pulling all of these energies together, the creativity, learning how to step into the power of who we are and create from that place. That is the bridge. They're saying that from these places, it creates the new matrix. We will start to see it as colors incorporated together. This lower matrix is like a tangling of all the same color of grays and blacks. The devoid of color, it is lacking its brightness, its purity, its brilliance. So as you rise up, everything becomes more colorful, more vibrant. They're saying this lower earth is desperate to feel loved, to feel its own brilliance. It's as if it's been wrapped in these dark loincloths, and all of the stitching is so quickly and carelessly knitted together in these cloths. It creates a jumbling. What we have been learning to do is the untangling of the heart. This is what this fifth wave is really going to focus on. It feels like the jumbling is really in their heart. It's the untangling of it. They have become so confused about what is heart-led and what is not. And there is so much hate and anger and resentment and sadness and grief and insecurity that is jumbled in there as a there is lack. They are wanting to find themselves. And as they untangle these strings and these webs that have been wrapped continuously around the heart, they will begin to see their own light. They're saying the new grid system that will exist around the new earth is from these chakra energies. They're showing me like a colored web of sorts that gets created that is in and around the new earth, the circulating of these energies so that we will be ever receiving of the higher energies and constantly fueling ourselves with this vibrancy. Okay, so they're talking to me about this matrix that's over the earth. It's almost like it's this uh, web that gets connected and created over the earth. And, so this is kind of how we get programmed, or the energy that we receive. And they're saying that there's going to be kind of a new thing that's over or around New Earth, a new energy, and it's like rainbow. So it's all of our own energies. Um, it's like this whole new system, I guess, of energy that we get to pull from. And it's just super colorful. And it's just always it's out in the ethers, it's everywhere. And it's going to just be so vibrant. So it's not like keeping us trapped. It's just something that we constantly get to pull from. It's this higher vibrant energy that will be around New Earth that will be fueling it instead of this lower kind of matrix down here that keeps us in this web. They're saying, do not be afraid of this process. Again, this is why we have brought through at the beginning the choice. We must choose. Are we choosing to see more of the light or to get caught up in these lower rabbit holes? The dark knows that this is happening. It wants to distract us and make the wrong choice, to get caught up in all of these other things. Let us start looking at what is higher, what this higher earth is bringing in, and what this energy would like to unfold. It is okay to see what the dark is doing and to notice it, but we do not need to continue to see evidence of it. We already know. And as more and more of it comes up, we will notice it and use it as fuel to continue to stay on our higher path. The focus is shifting. We will begin to see more of our true selves, our true history, our truth of how we have come to be and what we truly are and are growing into and how we will truly create moving forward. This is the information we want you to soak into. Within this, you will begin to understand how the dark has come in and infiltrated and taken over, and that is okay to see too. We just want you to know that you will be seeing this from a point of view of light, not a point of view of dark. It will not stir up feelings of anger or hate, or I cannot believe that this happened, because you have already gotten to the other side. We need you to be neutral in the receiving of it, so that when it comes up, you do not fall back. That is why we needed you to get to this point before we could reveal the true history. It needed to be received in a neutral state. So here they're talking about how our true history is going to come back online. And you've heard me talk about how there's, these ancient sacred sites and all that energy is going to come back online and the information about that, even just how ascension came to be, all sorts of historic energy is going to come back for us to receive. We have to get to a certain point in order for this to come back online. A, because it's coming from New Earth or True Earth. She's revealing this about herself. But also, I think it's wild stuff. And we need to be able to receive it. We have to be in this neutral state outside of judgment, outside of anger or insecurity. We have to receive it. Even outside of excitement and, hope or wanting things to be this grand way, we have to receive it from a neutral state so we can say, ah, yes, I see. And when we are in this neutral state, we're able to really receive more information. It's not about what we want or hoped it would be. There's no ego involved. It's just a receiving. So we've really graduated to this point, and it's exciting because the guides are saying there's a lot of information that's going to start coming online for us to be able to take in. And I think it's going to be some really cool out there stuff, bricks levitating to build different structures around the world, all kinds of sound being used. So we're going to learn all this stuff, but we had to be able to believe it. We had to be at this point where it's like, oh, yeah, that would make sense. So I think we're at that point. You are moving to more neutrality, which allows you to see things as is, as they are. The dark is simply love with layers and tangles put over top of it. We are never not love. We are love always, but we are experiencing different aspects of existence, of layers that are being put onto this existence. Love is constant. It is always there. It is in every single plane, even the lowest ones. It is just that we have brought all of these layers on top of it. The point of love is always present. We love ourselves so much we know that we can put these layers on and experience something different. I will always exist within this experience. Should I ever cease to not exist? No, because I am love and love is existence. We hope you understand now that love is always ever present in every single reality. It is about the layers that we put on it. And this is what we have been doing in this ascension process, removing those layers and those tangles that we have been putting on top of ourselves to have an experience. We are love having an experience. We love ourselves so much. We know we can have this lower and darker experience and learn through it and receive so much more of who we are through this experience. And we love ourselves so much that we know we will come back to this neutral existence of all that is. And this is the process that people will be going through. They are coming back to the true existence of themselves that has always been. They are recognizing the layers that they have put on themselves and releasing them so that they can rise up. They're saying that the dark has served a role to help us have this experience. And when we raise up through this ascension process, this earth will drop even lower for those darker beings who have chosen to take on this role and put on even thicker layers so that we could experience more of ourselves and our own existence. We thank you so much for joining and listening to this process, and we hope that this has brought more understanding through the process that you will be embarking on even further as we move into these very crucial years. All of these years have been crucial, but this untangling is this part of the final process. It is a deep strength of soul that these fifth wave beings will be going through as they come back to their true existence, which is love. So in conclusion here, they are talking about love and neutrality, that love is neutrality. Love is just existing, it's being. There isn't this intensity to it. It just is this energy of really of acceptance. I accept what is and I love it anyways. That what we may experience as love is like the highest temperature on a thermometer, and what we may experience as lack or hate is the lowest. And it's about us holding all of that in our experience and just being. So we're coming to this state where we can just observe, we can accept whatever is. And that love is always present in everything, every reality, every being, even the darkest of beings are still love. They just may not be serving that energy. And what darkness really is this point, this speck, this fractal of love that has been having oodles and oodles of layers over top of it so that it can't find who it truly is. So if we look at, this here, if I draw a heart, so this is love. And basically all darkness is, all this lower stuff is us dropping down to have an experience. We are just existence. We are love. That's what love is, existence. And we are present in this state of, oh, I'm having this experience of not being my full self and coming back to it. And that's essentially what ascension is. And we drop down and we put a layer around ourselves, and we drop down further, and there's another layer and another layer. And then sometimes they get all tangled and they come over top, and we just can't eventually, darkness is just this. It's just all of it covered up. So we have to remove those coverings. And as we do, we release all of these layers. We come back to more and more of who we truly are. We release these layers, and underneath of it, again, we find this. And that's what darkness is too. It has taken on a role. It has agreed to put on all of these layers. So all of us get to have an experience. The darkness has an experience of fully not being love. We have an experience of coming up against that and having to pull ourselves out of that entanglement. I remember I did this deep hypnosis session, and I went and talked to what we would call darkness or Lucifer. And that entity showed me it actually has, it has a huge heart. It loved itself so much. It knew so clearly who it was that it could take on this role and put all these layers of darkness around it so that all of these other fractals of source, me, you, your mom, your dad, whoever, can have this experience of interacting with such a layered lower being that has completely covered up who they are. But it was showing me I know exactly who I am underneath all of these layers, and I'm giving you the experience your soul wanted. It's almost as if the darkness is ready to release these layers and drop down to this lower place so it can take these layers off. It's providing an experience for us. So it needs us to ascend so it can drop out of this role that it's been playing for us in this whole game of life and ascension. So that's one way to look at it, that this point of love is always there. And as light workers, we don't attract dark. They're not like moths to a flame. What we're attracting from people who come towards us, what we attract from what we call the darkness coming towards us, is the light that's inside of them. When we're being our light, it attracts their light. It's calling it forward. That's why the dark wanted to come into this experience in the first place, because they want to experience more of their own light. It's sparking that. That's what we're attracting. The light does not attract the dark. The light attracts the light. So we're removing these layers. We're coming back to this neutral existence of just being, of acceptance, of just existing. And everything has its purpose, its form that it needs to take on. I don't know if any of you listened to this person, but a few years ago, I was listening to this one channeler named Amanda Ellis, and she was bringing through Jesus and talking about Easter and the crucifixion. And she was saying his soul could have come in earlier, but he was waiting for another soul to step forward to play the part of Judas, and that no one wanted to step up and play that part because it was such a difficult role to play, and the darkness that that soul would bring through would like echo. And finally that soul stepped up because it was strong enough to take that role on. It knew its purpose and knew that Jesus couldn't complete its purpose without it stepping into that role. And I feel the same about this darkness. It's similar. It's like it's taking on this role so that we can all have this experience. If we kind of look at it from that way of, wow, thank you, so that I could grow into myself, it releases a lot of this resentment and hate that we have for a lot of the struggle and experience that we've been through. It's like, oh, it has been helping me this whole time. And I know a lot of people may listen to this and be like, yeah, right, there's pure evil out there. Sure. But at the end of the day, it is all of these layers that are coming off. And there's, like the guide said, there's love in everything. It just needs to be discovered. It needs to let its existence come forward. So we are moving out of that. We are ascending up this bridge that I showed, and we're moving into this next phase. And a lot of us that have been in the throes of this ascension and awakening process now get to come into this higher plane and start experiencing the higher earth and the energies that are there. And it's just a really extraordinary time. So as we experience this higher earth and this lower one, we're going to see all of the chaos and the destruction happening, but we chose the higher lower timeline for this to happen through. So it's exciting times, and also we're kind of bracing ourselves as we move ahead, and be kind to each other. Enjoy the last few days here that we have of 2024, and let's get ready for this amazing ride as we step into this next year and this next decade. Thank you so much, you guys. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light?